Oh, thank you. I love you so much. I have a light and easy question. I think everybody on the planet would love to know what makes the Stradivarius, and why can we not replicate those instruments?
The same reason you don't grow new teeth. No one thinks they can. You're done.
Is it possible to elaborate? I don't think my husband would buy that. He's a violinist, and
Well, here's the thing. When someone really wants something, now, do you know someone who wants? In other words, what we've noticed is that in this expansive environment, anything that any of you decide that you want, the universe has the ability to yield it. And so some would say, well, maybe we need to get a lot of people wanting the same thing in order to put a request in that's substantial enough that it attracts the genius that would be required to do such a thing. And we say, you don't need one other. All you need is alignment with your own desire. So a desire that is sufficient enough. It may be that in your modern times there are so many other forms of music, or so other many forms of instruments, or so many other forms of entertainment, or many other ways of delighting yourselves, that no one has piqued that sort of desire about that specific thing. But it is our promise to you that this is not a space that is void of creativity in any way. In fact, more creativity is happening now than we've ever seen in any physical environment ever. More contrast, more people launching rockets of desire, more specific desires that are focused. So if we were standing in any of your physical shoes and there was something that we were wanting this time-space reality to yield differently than it is yielding, we would begin saying, won't it be nice when it happens, rather than why isn't it happening? Why has no one created such a thing? Why has no one created such a thing? Are all of the geniuses gone? Is all of the creative endeavor really gone? Is life not as magnificent as it once was? Are the true artisans really gone? Look at this wonderful machine. Everyone else is just trying to spin them out in mass production. There's not enough market for it, so there are not enough people that would buy it. In other words, these are the kinds of things that hold you in a place different than you want to be. And when you are beating a drum that says, wouldn't it be nice if something that felt like this could come again? Wouldn't it be nice if someone could come into physical form who has the sensitive ear that could hear the nuances that only a magnificent instrument could provide? Won't it be nice when someone like me appreciates that and finds their path of least resistance to be one that provides an opportunity for them to create such an instrument? And won't it be nice when such genius exists that I rendezvous with it and that I find a way to bring it comfortably into my experience? Yes.
can I ask one more question? I'm hearing impaired. The reason, well, I had a reading when I was 24, and I asked why I was hearing impaired, and I had chosen it before I came in because I wanted to this time get it, that everything happens from within, and to tune out, have that help in tuning out the outside as to not influence me. The way I was introduced to you, Abraham, was a gentleman who took me out to dinner and said, out of the blue, do you realize that you're going to be getting your hearing back? And I said, well, it's something I'd thought about. But so he said, we're here listening to this tape, and I've been listening to you for hours and hours for 2 years. My dilemma is, I believe this is possible, but I have resistance about how, because I know healing isn't the right word. It could be I'd have a surgery or I'd get some really cool hearing aids, but that seems anticlimactic.
Are you one of those people who, when you drive your automobile, you have the urge to get under the hood and work with the pistons and belts too?
Not at all.
So you understand that there is the mechanism that makes things happen called law of attraction, and your work is to identify what you want and then do your best to find vibrational alignment with it. And you are right. More people cause more trouble for themselves in the form of activating thoughts of resistance around the subject of trying to figure out how it's going to come, when it's going to come, where it's going to come from, who's going to bring it. Where instead, if you will think about what you want and why you want it, we think this is a perfect opportunity for you to begin saying things such as, I am a vibrational interpreter, and I interpret vibration on many levels. My emotions interpret vibrations. My nose interprets vibrations. Everything I see and hear, I have all of these senses. They're all interpreting vibrations. And as you goose up your appreciation for the vibrational interpretation that you have, rather than feeling lack in the vibrational interpretation that may not be, what begins to happen is you begin to release that resistance. We are not at all in disagreement that sometimes you come forth wanting a different way of looking at things. And we also agree that when you are in a physical environment where you're hearing everything, it is not as easy to sift out what you're not wanting to hear. But we do not believe that it is necessary for you to remain, in your words, hearing impaired. We would use different terminology. We would not say, I am hearing impaired. Now think about what you're doing. It's sort of like nailing your feet to this spot. I am hearing impaired. I am hearing impaired. I am hearing impaired. I am hearing impaired. And people say, well, what does that mean to you? And you say, I'm hearing impaired. I'm hearing impaired. I'm hearing impaired. Well, we do not find you having any difficulty in communicating. In other words, you are doing a good job of getting what we are giving to you. You're listening to recordings. We would play down anything that you call as a deficiency and play up anything that you see as a benefit, and just begin to reactivate other things in your vibration. So many of our physical friends think that what deliberate creating is getting into a place or working toward a place where everything will be just exactly perfect. And we say, we want you to have everything that you want, but we want you to be one who enjoys the process of movement from place to place. And we are in agreement with your reader who says to you, maybe it is a good idea if you are not so involved in everything that's going on. Maybe it will give you an opportunity to focus. And it is our promise to you, and we would say this to anyone, if your environment is piquing desire and you are focused upon the desire and finding vibrational alignment with your desire, everything that you want can be achieved. We would not feel resistant about being inspired to a surgery or inspired to some sort of an apparatus any more than we would want someone to feel uncomfortable about wearing the eye apparatus that helps them to see more clearly.
But the reason why I want my hearing back is because I sense in teaching people to reach their full potential, somebody would be more apt to listen to somebody who has restored their hearing.
Well,
that is more of a desire than anything. I mean, I kind of like tuning things out I don't want to hear. I like having the opportunity to have the front row.
It paid off, didn't it?
I mean, there are payoffs, but I also feel that part of my reason for coming in with this was to learn what I have now learned, and now I'm ready to teach it. And imagine, wouldn't everybody agree that somebody who was once half deaf, I know I'm beating my drum, but who is no longer deaf because of the practice of this principle, or like Jesus?
Well, this is something that we hear from so many teachers, and it is something that holds many teachers back, because they will say, I must find some form of perfection in order to be the example of what I am teaching. And the tricky thing about that is that not only do you find yourself then trying to be the perfect example to this one, but then to that one, and then to that one, and then to that one, and then to that one. And then what happens is throngs of people want different miracles from you. They want different things from you. In other words, what you're really wanting to do is find your desire and align with your desire purely and simply. We do not encourage anyone to test anything or to do anything in order to prove something to someone else, because that often leads you down a path that becomes uncomfortable for many other reasons. If you are, from your place of connection and from your place of really believing that your life is improving, radiating the example of an improved life, we don't think anyone's going to hold you to every last detail. And it would be fortunate for them if they didn't, because there will always be something that is incomplete for you and everyone else. It is not your job to live a perfect life so that you can teach through the power of your example a perfect life. It is not even possible. It's not possible for you to live the perfect life that would be viewed through the lenses of everyone who would be looking at you. Also, there are many who might be inspired by your healing or by your improvement. In fact, we notice that something that audiences enjoy very much is someone who has managed to, for whatever reason and in whatever way, disallow the fullness of well-being to flow to them, and so they're living some deprived state of being, and then they find some way to stop doing whatever it was that was causing the resistance and disallowing it, and then they allow finally what is natural to come back into their experience, and the audience goes wild. In other words, there's nothing that people like more than for you to dig yourself into a hole and then dig yourself out of it, in other words. But what we are really wanting to say to all of you is start wherever you are. This is the reason that we most want to talk with you. We want you to understand that no matter what you're living and no matter where you are perfect unto the universe. And we would like you to start calling yourself perfect even in your diminished hearing, rather than saying, I've got all of these things right and this thing I'm still using as my excuse to call myself wrong in some way, you see. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Very good. Yes.